Are you in school, Chuck?
Yeah, I got a class this last week.
Are you doing it virtually or in person?
So Mr. Parker, Mr. Lappich are there.
It's supposed to be Patty? No, Patty's here.
It's here.
Are the kids cooperating? I call them kids, they're not kids.
Recording in progress.
Students cooperating? Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
But are they cooperating?
More or less. That's all you can ask for. And you're going to do anything here? Do we need to get anybody?
I think he's ready to rock, sir.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, is Parker
He's
and
zooming.
Leach on there?
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
So you have the Zoom?
She has the Zoom.
So how are we going to hear them?
She's going to have to put her microphone to her microphone, or she'll have to relay what they're saying.
What am I doing?
Well, I don't have Zoom up, so I won't be able to hear them unless we have something, a microphone or something to your.
I mean, I'm fine with that if I can figure out what microphone is on.
Oh.
the thing.
No, you got earphones on.
I mean, I can find.
You'll just have to tell us what they're saying, all right?
What's that?
You'll just have to tell us what they're saying.
It should be, Ashley, you should be able to just do that because it's up top,
Up top?
I think.
Mhm.
Substance of their dominance.
Under where? Let me see. Battery, let's see. Sound. Okay. You can turn it all the way
Bill,
up.
Al, and Jim are on Zoom.
Okay.
Are they going to be able to hear me whispering to you?
Hope not. Yeah.
Right.
You ready? Everybody ready? All right.
I just do it.
Now I lost the Zoom on it. And I changed. What the heck is going on?
Oh. Good deal. All right, good to go. All right, I'd like to call the September 14th meeting of the Pottsgrove School Board to order, and we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't hear anything either. It's the wrong link.
Okay.
Ashley, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. We haven't been hearing you. I don't hear anybody.
Yeah, sorry, I have a mute.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that.
Okay. Ashley, I would appreciate if you would take the roll. And everybody is here. That is correct. All right. As far as the agenda goes, we're on executive session. We did have an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss personnel.
And maybe, I don't know that legally we have to do it, Bob, but since you noted the role, we probably should note that we have, I guess, 3 board members attending virtually for various reasons. Mr.
Yes.
Parker, Mr. Leach, and Mr. Lappich.
Thank you very much. That is correct. All right. Now we come to the public comment section. As many of you know, we have a policy that governs public comment, and we're going to try and make sure that everybody gets a chance. Everybody that wants to talk will get a chance to talk. And we'll give you 2 minutes to tell us what's on your mind. It is public comment. We will typically not respond to questions. It's just for you to tell us what you think of us, and, be kind.
Which one's agenda?
Yeah. So the items and questions have to be related to what's on the agenda for the first public comment. We have another public comment on the end for anything at all that you want to talk about or ask about. As I mentioned, you can ask your questions. We will probably take them for advisement and get back to you at a later time. We will not respond here tonight to any questions. That said, I know that there are a lot of passions. I know there's a lot of interest. I know there's a lot of feelings about this, so I intend to give, for lack of a better word, latitude to your expression, but I do expect that everybody will treat everybody else with respect. We're all adults here, and I expect us to act that way. Other than that, name calling is okay. I have thick skin. I'm sorry I spoke for everybody else there, but that's just the way it's going to go. Have I forgotten anything, Ashley?
You'll get a warning at 1:50 seconds that you have 10 seconds more, and then at 2 minutes, you'll be told time, and you need to stop your comment at that point.
Yeah. When you're called, when Dr. Finnerty reads your card, if you would come up to this table up here, and there's a microphone there that you can talk to and talk into and let us know your thoughts. So, Dr. Finnerty?
First comment I have is Jamie O'Neill.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
You need to, I'm sorry, one thing I forgot. You need
Yeah.
to state your name and the township in which you live.
Okay, Jamie O'Neill, West Pottsgrove. Board members and Dr. Finnerty, I call on you to make masks optional for all grades effective immediately. I understand that some parents may choose to mask their child. That is their right, and I support them 100%. But for us that choose differently for our children, we can also make that choice. If this means you have to return the over $4 million you've received in additional funding from the government for COVID mitigation and contact tracing, do it. Because the healthcare choices we have as parents for our children are not for sale. You do not have the right to use money for your own personal definition of health and safety to justify stripping us parents of our rights. You have decided to force children to wear a mask based on science. You are claiming that the school is hazardous to my child's health and therefore prescribed a mask, citing science. Actual science would be bringing in an environmental toxicologist to air sample during the class, and that environmental toxicologist would tell you if masks are needed. They are the mask experts. Therefore, since real science isn't backing your arbitrary powers in issuing these mandates, you are violating civil liberties of the children because you believe you can. No actual attempts have been made to qualify your statements or actions. Therefore, the actions of the school board are interpreted as an attempt to demonstrate dominion over civil liberties. And since both the United States Constitution and the Pennsylvania Constitution cite liberty as being an inherent right, as well as Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution saying that the people have a right to clean air, you are breaking the law. Let me remind you of the oath you all took and swore to uphold. If any of you can't keep your oath to uphold the Constitution and act impartially to the law, I don't think you belong on the school board. Thank you.
10 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, nobody on Zoom from here. I don't know what to do about that. I tried turning my computer.
I can turn my mic on, but I just don't.
I mean, they can hear me, but they can't hear the speakers. I mean, what I could do is put my computer there.
So this should work.
Okay.
They should be able to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll do this our next one.
James Troutman? Thank you. When can I go?
You can go whenever.
All right.
You're ready.
I'm here today to talk about this illegal experiment being done on our children.
Mr. Troutman, we need your name and the township in which you live.
Gotcha. James Troutman, Lower Pottsgrove Township. Can I go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry? I don't live in college. Can I go? What is going on?
Proceed, all right? You have a child in the district, do you?
Yes,
Thank
sixth
you.
grade
That's-
middle school.
Thank you. All right, please proceed.
Can I go? Can I start?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm here today to talk about this legal experiment being done on our children with this mass medical device. During the unprecedented time, mixed messages have been handed down from so-called science experts and government officials. The school district cannot use our children for this. There are 17-plus other school districts that are no longer participating in this illegal experiment in Pennsylvania. It would be considered a war crime and violate the Nuremberg Code standards created in response to the human rights violation of World War II. From the book, if you know what a book is, called The Doctors of Infamy, the story of Nazi medical crimes in which Nuremberg Code 1947 is discussed. The voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. The duty and responsibility for ascertaining the quality of the consent rests upon each individual who initiates, directs, or engages in the experiment. It is a personal duty and responsibility which may not be delegated to another with impunity. The children cannot give legal consent, obviously the parents can. Therefore, you must honor our legal binding exemption forms. The WHO recommends only symptomatic people actually wear the mask. Children covered by an IEP or Section 504 allowed mask exemptions per the mandate without a doctor's note. Call it a loophole all you want. It's what we Americans call checks and balances. Putting a mask on an entire school district oversteps your authority. You are held liable if you do not make reasonable accommodations for the issues of disease caused by masks, included but not limited to mental health, dental hygiene, oxygen depravity to the brain, asthmatic conditions, and stunning social growth. COVID is simply the result of the government's gain-of-function research funded by the NIH to their lab in Wuhan. The masks, the PCR tests, the vaccines, this is all experimental. I'm here to tell you today that my daughter is no longer participating in this COVID experiment. I do not give my consent for her participation, and I demand to stop illegally forcing my family to wear a medical device infringing upon our rights and let the parents make up their mind about their children's health.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who's next?
Dustin Datillo.
Zoom people can't hear. We're trying. I think the echo is really bad.
They could probably stream it.
That's what they said on YouTube, they can't hear it either. I think it's an echo.
My name is Dustin Datillo, Lower Pottsgrove, 4 children in your school district. It's probably more children than all you guys have combined in the school district, am I right? You'll answer that later. This is a interview, 2019, Fauci. I guarantee none of you have heard this.
And the best way for me to prevent getting an infectious
38
disease
seconds.
and having to have you as my doctor is what? Wearing a mask? No. You do that? If I can see they're getting ready to sneeze or cough, walk away.
You avoid all the paranoid aspects and do something.
Oh, we avoid all the paranoid aspects, so that leads me to believe you guys are either, I'm sorry to say this, stupid or complicit in what's going on right now in our country. I'll tell you what, we didn't vote for the Department of Health. We vote, you know what I mean? We voted for elected officials, and that elected official, Tom Wolf, lost his power in May. He lost his emergency power. We all voted. We were told elections have consequences. That election had a consequence. So you trying to tell me he lost all his power except to put masks over little children? You guys are cowards. You guys ain't heroes. Because it's the rules? What, you guys afraid some men in black from the Department of Health are going to come in here and arrest you guys? Is that what you're afraid of? If you guys had any heart, you would contact all the other school districts, stand up to the Montgomery County Department of Health, whose unelected officials, and you say, we're not following this. We're going to have the parents' choice. And to all the parents who want to mask your kids, go ahead. We're not saying don't mask your kids. You could put 2 masks on, 3 masks on. My kids play sports. They don't want to wear masks. They want to socialize with their friends at school, like they have all summer long. We didn't vote for the Department of Health. We didn't. Wolf lost his power. And I want to answer, what power did Wolf lose? And what powers did he keep? I want to answer to that later, honestly, through email. I don't even need the rest of the time. I do, because, this is going to last till vaccines, isn't it? Just admit now, this is until vaccine mandates. Go ahead. I'll tell you right now, my work at Phoenix, there's two, I'll read an
10
email right
seconds.
now. We have 2 blocks on advanced quarantine. Guess what? Those blocks are fully vaccinated. Do you know our 1 block that's not vaccinated, our block? It's
Time.
not been quarantined yet,
Your time is up.
but the vaccinated blocks have.
Thank you.
Because vaccine mandates are coming, I know it.
Andy Corman.
Good evening, board. And once again, you are very courageous. Just a message, and I don't have any prepared comments per se,
Mr.
but
Corman, if you can state
Oh.
your name and your,
Andrew Corman, Upper Pottsgrove. I have 1 child in 11th grade.
thank you.
So all of you parents, and when I say you, I am speaking to you plurally. You plurally. I'm not directing this at any one person. You have all been lied to. We were all told 15 days to slow the spread. That was a complete lie. The government does not love freedom. They love control. This is about control and putting the boot on someone's neck. That is what this is about. Are you aware that this pandemic, some people may refer to it as a plandemic, not only has resulted in deaths due to the disease, which there's an over 99.8% survivability for most people. For most people, okay? I'm a survivor of this disease. The consequences of the lockdowns has resulted in a shadow pandemic, and it has caused many mental health crises. Screen time has doubled in our schools, okay? The lockdowns caused students to have to learn over Zoom. Screen time has doubled. Depression has tripled. You guys, I'm sure, have seen the news of the rates of suicide. It is this disease, I'm not denying it exists. I'm a survivor of the disease, okay? But the consequences and the lockdowns are completely out of just extraordinary.
10 seconds.
Last thought. The damage of the solution is worse than the damage of the problem.
Katie Coppa.
Thank you. Katie Copa, Upper Pottsgrove Township. Good evening again to the Board of Directors, Dr. Finnerty, and fellow members of the Pottsgrove family. Unbelievably, we're still here, now in the 3rd academic year where our children are forced to bear the brunt of COVID-19 safety measures for a virus that, statistically speaking, doesn't affect them. Sunday evening, the Pottsgrove School District sent out a communication to the community linking Department of Education materials after stating that the Department of Health has clarified their recent order. No one should be clarifying or interpreting an order from the Department of Health except for the Department of Health, not any other person or entity. This is simple logic. On what authority does the Department of Education have to clarify another entity's order? No such clarification or interpretation has been published by the Department of Health. The order itself does not call for a doctor's note for exceptions, yet I've heard from some members of our own Pottsgrove community that you are demanding a doctor's note for an exception. Let me ask you this. If I send a note to school notifying you that my child has a nut allergy, are you going to ask for a doctor's note? Are you going to require proof, make them eat something with peanuts to prove that they're allergic? Or will you take my word as their parent, the one who knows them best? I would suspect it's the latter, so why are we demanding more than what's stated in the Department of Health's order? You're likely thinking people will abuse it. Fair point. But that's a really garbage way to view the entire general public, and secondly, your role as a school board director is to serve the entire district community, not just those whose thinking align with your own. Parents know their children best. They know their risks. They know their health background. I suspect that all of us parents here in this room would move heaven and earth for our children, and we do what we feel is best for our children and make our own choices accordingly. This is again why I continue to advocate for what I've been advocating since the pandemic began, parent
10
choice.
seconds.
Since some on the board are numbers guys, I have some numbers for you. From the American Academy of Pediatrics as of September 9th, 5.3 million child cases reported, 15.5% of all positive cases.
Time is up.
Hospitalization, 0.1 to 1.9% of all child COVID-19 cases.
Ms.
And
Colbert,
mortality,
your time is up.
0 to
Your time is up.
0.27% of mortality. 7 states reporting 0 deaths.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have some hands raised? Ashley, you want to take any of the folks with hands raised?
Let's see if anyone's on here.
I see one, well, at least
See
one
one?
hand raised.
Okay, let me get myself all done up here so I can, do you want me to put my mic
Yeah.
to it?
That's
Okay.
the only way I know how to do it.
Okay. Wait. Can I get in? There we go. Okay. Okay, we have one hand raised. Is Jeanette Clifton. Jeanette, can you, I'm allowing you to talk. Can you hear me? Jeanette, can you hear? Oh. I hear something coming from somewhere. Wait, I can barely hear her. I don't know. Said she has her sound all the way up. I have the sound.
Yeah, put your sound up here.
I want to make sure I can be heard, please.
Ms. Clifton, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I have 2 children in the school district. Just to remind everybody. First thing I wanted to say.
She needs to state her township, please.
Pottsgrove. Lower Pottsgrove.
Lower Pottsgrove.
Okay, can I go?
Yes.
Okay. First thing I want to say is I agree with the previous parents. It should be a parent's choice, not the school board's. And I understand that people are afraid, but it's been ginned up, and if you look at the numbers, even the CDC says it recommends. It doesn't say you have to. Now, when it comes to therapists, they're not regular visitors. This needs to be reevaluated. They are necessary services for students in need, such as BSC, TSS, etc. The school board needs to reassess this policy as services can be discontinued when not used. Companies can be made to have safe visits on case-by-case basis, not just accepting visitors, such as masks at times outside if applicable and distance. Outside agencies should not be discriminated against. That's the one thing I wanted to say. Another thing I wanted to remind everybody is a little history lesson. The Nuremberg trial in 1945, Hermann Goring to the question, how did you convince the German people to accept all this? He replied, it was easy and it had nothing to do with Nazism. The only thing a government needs to turn people into slaves is fear. If you can find something to scare them, you can make them do anything you want. I would like people to remember this. If you look at the CDC's website, you can actually find
10 seconds.
the numbers, and regular flu is more dangerous than COVID. We don't live in a sterile bubble. We never will. And the WHO even said that this COVID and all its variants are here to stay.
Thank you,
So,
thank you, Ms.
I would
Clifton.
like to go
Your
back
time
to
is up.
living life life instead of living in.
Anybody else with hands up?
That's it.
That's it.
All right. That takes us to the first comment section. We'll now get to presentations, recognitions, and awards.
Thank you, Mr. Lindgren. Tonight we have two honorees. The first, Ms. Tammy Quinter. She started as a sub with Pottsgrove in 1996. She was hired as a duty aide and then became a building aide and moved to a student assistant position at Lower Pottsgrove in 2004. In 2005, she acquired an instructional assistant position at the middle school where she remained until her retirement in June of this year. Ms. Quinter was always willing to pitch in and help wherever she was needed. In addition to her regular duties, she was a fixture in our after-school tutoring program. Congratulations. If Ms. Quinter, if you would come up here, please. Retiree, Joy Stathopoulos. How do I do with the name? All right. Mrs. S, as she was called, has been with Pottsgrove School District for 18 years and served most recently as a 6th grade science teacher at the middle school. Ms. Stathopoulos was also involved outside of the classroom. She served as our detention moderator for a number of years, and additionally, she worked with many students instructing them how to play the handbells. Congratulations, and please come up here. Agenda item 5 is our student representative report. So first up, I believe we have our junior student representative.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be back. First and foremost, Matt and I are excited to be back in school, and we're hopeful for a full year in person. That being said, one of our main objectives is reconnecting with students, so that entails taking trips to the schools and sitting down with students to hear everyone's opinion on everything that's happened so far this year. We also wanted to incorporate something at the high school that gets the students involved and interacting with each other again. So that's something that we'll sit down with Dr. Ziegler and discuss. We'd also like to incorporate the younger generations and reach out to them since their opinion is also valid. Lastly, we would like to begin to conduct surveys with the student body to get their opinion on all the changes being made and to help them feel as safe as possible in the school with everything going on.
Okay, all right. Since I'm going to the Western Center, I'll begin to tell you what it's like there again. As you know, masks are mandated, so everyone wears them, but mask breaks are being taken at the teacher's discretion, which could be happening 2 times throughout the day. For the afternoon kids, they're there 3 hours a day, so whenever the teacher feels like. The classrooms look pretty much what they did pre-COVID, and the teachers are engaging in hands-on learning as much as possible as well with their classwork. One of the biggest changes this year is coming in the form of gym with the 11th and 12th graders. What I mean by this is that the sports medicine class will be offering an alternative for the students to come work out and have the current seniors be their personal trainers and set goals for the students to help them achieve the goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily and Matt. Item 6, approval of minutes. Item 6.1, approval of the monthly board action.
make a motion to combine 6.1 and 6.2. My mic's not working.
So moved.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Mrs. McIntyre to combine 6.1 and 6.2, the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
I could handle it if you want.
I move that we accept the high school accounts, middle school accounts, and cafeteria accounts as presented.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Dr. Nippert to accept the accounts for audit. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries without objection.
I move that we approve the payments of invoices in the amount of $7,571,056.50 for August 2021 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Mrs. McIntyre to pay the bills. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
I move that we approve the treasurer's report for August 2021 as presented and file it for audit.
Second.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Mrs. Custer to approve the treasurer's report and file for audit. Does anybody have any questions on this? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Item 10, report of the superintendent. I have three things that I want to share, but before I share that, I know that we have some differing viewpoints that we've shared tonight, but I believe this to be true. We are all united together in supporting our alumnus, Dustin Tavella. Tonight he is on America's Got Talent. He is in the final round. I believe the show actually starts at 8 o'clock. So I know he's looking for our support, so I do encourage everyone to support and vote for him. It would be fantastic to see him win, and if you haven't seen him, his show is amazing. So good luck, Dustin. I do have three other things. First, we renewed a 3-year agreement with Tri-County Credit Union for the high school gymnasium and a branch office inside the high school. Tri-County has been a valued partner for 12 years, not only supporting our district financially, but also engaging our students in a number of educational programs centered around fiscal responsibility. So we're very proud to sign that agreement with them again. Second, in partnership with Giant Pharmacy, Pottsgrove School District will again host a COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the high school on Monday, October 4th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. All 3 first dose vaccines will be available, as well as booster shots for those who meet the 8-month requirement. If interested in volunteering, please contact Mr. Dorenzo. Third, I would like to acknowledge the work of our PGS, our Pottsgrove School District team. In the span of just over a week, we experienced 3 very significant disruptions: the remnants of Hurricane Ida, 2 boil water advisories, and a transformer failure. The response was a whole team effort and required every member of the team to pitch in. But I do want to especially thank the high school staff and families for their quick pivot to a virtual day. I know in talking to the students, it was not something they were looking forward to, but they powered through, and I appreciate that and want to thank them for that. I also want to reach out and thank our facilities and technology teams for staying into the wee hours and coming in early to get the buildings ready to open. So very much appreciated that work. That's all I have for the report.
Very good, thank you.
Item 11, action items, personnel.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 11.1.
Second.
Do you mean, are you combining items?
No, because we have, I want to
Okay.
acknowledge the staff retirees.
All right. So 11.1, professional staff. We have a motion and a second?
Thanks. You want to do this?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. You got the names on that? Okay. Motion was Ms. Grimm and the second was Ms. McIntyre. They're tag teaming tonight. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
11.2, support staff retirements.
I'll make the motion that we approve.
We need a second.
Second?
Okay. We have a change. We have Mrs.
That's
Grimm.
all right, we fell asleep for a minute, we're good, we're good.
Mrs. Grimm and Dr. Nippert on that 11.2. Does anybody have any questions on 11.2?
No, I would just like to make a comment to congratulate him for retiring. I see we have a Tammy Quinter from a student instructional assistant middle school, so I'd like to congratulate her.
Okay. Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Item 11.3, support staff resignations.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 11.3 through 11.11.
Second.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Mrs. McIntyre to approve items 11.3 through 11.11. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Item 12, action items business. Item 12.1, MCIU
I'd like
service.
to make a motion that we approve 12.1 to 12.2.
Second.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Mrs. McIntyre to approve 12.1 and 12.2. Does anybody have any questions on these? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Item 13, action items education. Item 13.1, conference.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve 13.1 through 13.3.
Second.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Dr. Nippert to approve 13.1 to 13.3, taken collectively. Does anybody have any questions on those items? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Okay, we're moving on to 14, the JOC. Last night we had our meeting, all in attendance. School is going as planned. All is open, no problems. They're very excited to get started, to get, how to start a new year. And last year we were reminded that they were one of the only schools that worked all last year, came into the school. So the kids are really excited for a great year, and we wish them a good year.
If I can just remind the board, when you're speaking, please make sure your mic's on. I've been following some comments online, and we want to make sure that all our comments are being heard. The acoustics in an elementary gymnasium are less than ideal, but we are doing our best to try to make sure that we're being heard for those folks watching on Zoom. So I believe we're on item 15, committee items. Item 15.1, we have a change order approval. We are recommending the board approves a change order from Freilutz in the amount of $14,068.84 for a high school boiler project to replace a faulty expansion tank.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mrs. Grimm and a second from Dr. Nippert to replace the expansion tank at the high school. Does anybody have any questions on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
I'm sorry, I inadvertently skipped action item 13. We had the conference, we had 13.1, conference attendance.
No, we did 13. We combined them.
Oh, we combined it?
13-1 to 13-3.
Oh, okay, all right, my bad.
That's okay. You want to prolong this meeting, do you?
No. Item 16 is new business?
New business, so we'll take it in order. Do you have anything?
I did have some new business that I wanted to share. With everything going on today, I was able to attend the football game last week. And it was, first of all, it was a beautiful night. It was honoring our military. And we do have 2 here on the board that we thank you for your service. And Dr. Finnerty also. But it was nice because when I got there, we haven't been in the athletic field because of all the COVID. But I went and I saw Dr. Finnerty in the student section, rounding them all up, and they have like Hawaiian shirts. So they do themes, which was awesome. The cheerleaders were so adorable. The football team came out with all the American flags, and we honored all of our teachers. We got to see the band play, and then it was also Pottsgrove Community Day. So Pottsgrove Parks and Rec was there. The PIAA was there, and they asked me to put a plug in because they desperately need students for their program. But it was so refreshing to just feel the energy, feel everybody happy, and it was some normalcy, and the Grove had a great football game. So it was just very refreshing, and that's all I have to report for new business.
Hold on, Bill.
We already voted on it. You already voted
So
on it?
I can unmute. I think Mr. Parker wants to.
Okay.
Mr. Parker, can you hear me?
Well, I can, but I've heard you all along, so.
You're regretting it.
Is that better?
Can the board and the community hear me?
As well as I can hear anybody, yes.
Ashley, can you hear me there?
Yes.
Okay. Because we don't have the system set up as we had it set up all of last year, which is quite bothersome, that we have board members and community members unable to be there. I missed 13.3. I had a comment to make that I'd like to make for the record on 13.3. It is our duty to protect all of our students and all of our staff. The Department of Health and medical experts are stating that while not foolproof, it is wise to wear masks when indoors. If we did not and do not follow their directions, we would be negligent. Wearing masks is to protect others, not ourselves. Yes, parents have rights. All parents have rights. Every parent, every student, and every staff member has the right to be in a school building that is doing its due diligence to protect them and their children. I have to say that I find it very interesting, as I've shared with some. I work in a special needs school with students that can be very defiant. I have been spit on, hit, kicked, have students run off, have students refuse to work, call me every name in the book, but you know what rule no child defies? Wearing a mask. Why is that? Because they, at their young age, are wise enough to understand that their safety and the safety of others comes before anything else, as it is their right. Therefore, if I was able to hear 13.3, I would have voted as well, yes, as I will continue to do. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you. All right, do we have anything else for new business? Anybody else? Well, that makes it my turn. I'd like to announce tonight that tonight will be my last meeting as a member of Pottsgrove's board. I'm resigning my position on the board because I've taken a job in Virginia and I'll be moving down there. And I wanted to thank everybody for their support, their comments. I understand that we have a lot of disagreements, and a lot of folks who have viewpoints they want to get across. But if you've seen what other districts are going through, there is not the respect, there is not the decency, there is not the thoughtfulness for others. And I appreciate very much that everybody can come here tonight and say what they have to say and get their opinions out and email us and talk to us and still be respectful. Because that's the bottom line. We can have differences, but I appreciate the respect. And I'd like to thank my fellow board members and the district for all the support and help they've given me over the years. I've done this a couple times, and I really appreciate it. It's been a great ride, and I wish you all the best.
Date?
The effective date will be 24th.
Who's taking the minutes, David, so that we... It's the 24th effective date, and I don't want to diminish Bob's moment. He deserves it after all these years. He and I have been at this table for a long time together, so I commend you on your public service. Now it's time for me to give the speech. You will have 30 days to make an appointment from the date of the effective resignation. You can always change it, but you do have a policy in place as to how to implement the interviews and advertising, and I would suggest that, I don't have that memorized, it's a Pottsgrove policy, but I suggest the administration look at that and start the process. If there's a website advertisement, newspaper, I forget, to be honest, Dr. Finnerty, but there is a process that the board has adopted some years ago. With that, though, I don't want to, as I say, diminish the public service that Bob has given. He's done multiple stints in between deployment for his country, so I think we all appreciate your efforts.
All right. So now we're back to public comment.
Quick question.
Oh, sure.
Does Bob's replacement need to be in before the November election, since we already have?
Well, I mean, as a practical matter, in this particular case, I don't want to be cavalier about it, but it almost doesn't matter what you do, because whoever gets the appointment, the position will end at the end of November. I think we're talking about 2 meetings. So, I mean, the worst thing that could possibly happen, and it's not very realistic, if you didn't make the appointment, somebody could run to court for 5 or 6 days. So, I mean, if you do nothing, I normally don't suggest the board do nothing, but in this particular case, you make a point. We're talking about an appointment by October 24th, and someone will be seated the first week in December. So you'll have to decide as a board how you want to handle that. But, we'll start the process, and then you can make up your mind.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm just going to interrupt because I want to say thank you. I met you and really began to interact with you about 4 years ago taking this position, Bob, and I thank you for your service to communities, your service to country. You've given your life to that. And when you have somebody in the family that serves with their life like you have, the whole family supports that. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank your wife and your children, because it's a whole group effort to support you as you serve all of us. And I have learned a lot. And I'm very grateful for your service, so thank you. I'm very excited for your next endeavor. Thanks, and God bless.
Thanks.
All right, I said I wasn't going to do it because I said goodbye to you last night. But, Bob, when I first came on the board, we sat next to each other, and then you left to serve our country. And you have 5 kids that went through Pottsgrove School District. And I just thank you for all the knowledge that you have given me personally, always being there for me, and I wish you nothing but the best, nothing but the best. And I'd just like to acknowledge Kim over there in the corner. Could you stand up so we could say congratulations to you too? She's a great lady, she really is, and we wish you the best too, Kim.
Bob, thank you again. You've been a terrific mentor to give me advice. I got on here and very quickly realized there was an awful lot that I didn't know about school boards. And you've been a great teacher and a great aide and a great source of wisdom and experience, and you've displayed that here even tonight. So it's been a pleasure working for you, and good luck. And I wish you great success. And,
Thank you, Charles.
take care.
I thank you also, Robert. From the short time I've known you, you've been very influential in my life. You're a man who cares deeply, who thinks deeply, and I don't know how many people know that, who puts a lot of weight into the decisions and the actions that you take. You're driven by your values. And I said to you on the phone the other day, in some ways our values are similar, in some ways they're different. And yet you practice what you preach with the respect when there's those differences. It's just admirable to see someone today who practices what they preach and who constantly struggles to make sure they're standing for what they believe in. I admire that in you.
Thank you.
I guess it's my turn now? Okay. Thank you, Bob. Seriously, you have at times really irritated people, but but you've always been the rock that was needed. You know, you were the guy you were the go-to guy. I knew that if there was an issue and needed to talk to you about it, you would always call me back no matter what. And we always had really nice, informative conversations. I always learned something from you. And I just think you were a great leader. So thank you and best of luck. I've heard Richmond is beautiful, so enjoy.
Thank you.
Mr. Lindgren, I would also like to take the opportunity to thank you. We haven't known each other long, but I feel like we know each other well. And I know it's looking outside in, it maybe not is as easy to see. This is a very difficult position that the board has, and it's a very important mission. And whether or not you always agree with the decision someone makes, one of the things that I always knew calling you is how much you care about Pottsgrove, how much you care about this district, value these kids, value the people that work in this community and for this district. And that is amazing. And I want to thank you for that and wish you well on your journey.
Thank you. Yeah. So now we're back to public comment. So do you have any hands raised?
Have one hand raised.
Okay. So we're going to do the thing with the microphone.
Yeah.
Let's take care of that
Oh,
one.
there's two now.
Okay.
Wait, no. Sorry, they're coming and going.
I think we have Mr. Vecchio.
Yes.
Let me see if we can, I'm turning up my
Are
mic.
you,
Hello, sir.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Ms. Custer, can we unmute Mr. Vecchio?
there's nothing coming up.
Are you talking to me?
No, we were trying not to. There we go. Now you got Joe.
How you doing? This is Joe Vecchio, Lower Pottsgrove. I just wanted to say that this meeting was truly, truly, truly a major, major technology snafu. People out on Zoom, we could not hear, excuse my dog barking because I was saying hello, hello, hello. I apologize. But people out on Zoom could not hear a darn thing. It was unbelievable how bad our technology, and I feel bad for teachers. If this is how things are run in our technology department, then I feel bad for our teachers in Pottsgrove, because tonight was absolutely a disgrace for the public and everybody else to hear what was going on in this meeting. I know I could not hear a darn thing about what was going on. I don't know about Mr. Lappick and Mr. Parker, but we were all seeming like, what the hell is going on here? This was a disgrace of a Zoom meeting. Technology, and you want our teachers and things to do this, and we can't even get a board meeting correct? Somebody needs to answer for it. It was bad, very bad, that's all I'll say. That's all. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Who's next? I think. Can you mute Mr. Vecchio? There you go.
No, I actually can't. There he is. So next we have Ms. Clifton. Is that right?
Did you say Jeanette Clifton?
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to reiterate what the previous gentleman had said. The sound was horrible. There was echoes everywhere. I could barely make out anything, and it was not a good board meeting for those who attended because we couldn't hear anything. Not really. And so there's stuff that we might have missed that we didn't get a chance to say anything on. And I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Clifton. We have another.
Jill Ludi.
She's still muted. Wait, no.
Hello?
There we go.
Okay, Jill Ludi, Upper Pottsgrove. I also just wanted to say I posted quite a few questions on the Q&A to say that nobody on Zoom could hear you. And I did not get one response back, even with the question, what happened with the action item 13.3, because none of that could anybody that is on Zoom can hear. Unfortunately, because of my health conditions, I cannot attend the meetings. So I'm glad that Zoom is going to happen again. It would just be helpful to have it working. And that's all. Thank you. And thank you for all your support.
Thank you. Next up, we have Kelly. Is it Kelly Reinhardt?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kelly Riggert. I'm Upper Pottsgrove Township. I just wanted to thank all of you guys. I mean, although we couldn't really hear that well on Zoom, but, you know, a lot of the open comment and stuff, and
I know it's a difficult situation that we're all in right now, especially with, a lot of the mandates that are happening. And I just want to say I appreciate you guys for what you guys are doing and what you're doing for our kids, because it's not to protect us personally, it's to protect our kids. So again, I just wanted to, step up and say thank you for doing what you're doing for our kids and for our staff and for the faculty.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. And that is all.
That's all.
Do you have any additional requests from anyone else?
No additional requests for public comment.
If I can just say one thing real quick. I was getting messages the whole time saying that people couldn't hear on Zoom. I'm not, I know how to be on a Zoom call. I've never had to run a Zoom call. I'm not terribly well versed in that, but I was trying. So, and I think I kind of figured it out at the end, but it took me a little while. So I just want to apologize to anybody. I was trying to get it so that everyone could hear, but trying to do it on the fly. So I think we'll be better next time.
Can I say thank you? And this certainly was not on you. This issue with technology tonight. This was an issue we had plenty of practice with last year, and could have and should have had in place. Certainly wasn't on you. Thank you for everything you were trying to do to get everybody heard.
Okay. So motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked if he had any receipts up here for anybody who wanted to talk, and I don't have any. All right,
Okay, well,
that's fine. We'll do that.
But it has to be on non-agenda items.
Not be on anything. Be on anything.
I thought I knew.
It can be on anything.
Anything related to the district.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it had to be non-agenda.
No.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Fine. Please, you have another 2 minutes.
he doesn't really, what can I say?
Okay.
Just get your clock running.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry about that. The only difference between this and the other one is that the 2 minutes can be spent on anything you want to talk about. So.
And anything that is relevant to the district.
Sure.
Katie Copa, Upper Pottsgrove. I just want to finish up. I always overestimate how quickly I can read something. So I do have some statistics. Again, according to the CDC, 480 kids have died during the 2018 to 2019 flu season. This is more than have died throughout the entire COVID-19 pandemic. Seasonal flu poses more risk to our children than any variant of COVID-19, yet no one advocated for masks in 2018 of 2019. In the United Kingdom, children are not wearing masks in schools. Did everybody know that? Yet their numbers have been consistently declining since they hit their recent peak at the end of July. Data from the CDC and Chicago Police Department, a total of 214 minors have died of COVID-19 in the country over the course of 2021. A total of 261 children, however, were shot in Chicago in 2021. Let that sink in for a minute. More minors have been shot in one single city than have died of COVID-19 in the entire country. I recognize I am not going to change anyone's mind about masks. Mr. Parker made an excellent point. We need to respect the decisions of all parents. Mr. Parker, I'm not seeing that in this room, on this board. I am seeing respect for one side. I am not seeing respect for parental choice in a large scale. There was some sentiment from Dr. Finnerty that violating the Pennsylvania Department of Health's order would cause significant costs to taxpayers. This is a fair point. But please remember one thing. The district is now incurring an additional cost of almost $1 million this school year over what we saw in 2019 to 2020. Collectively, as a school board, you need to own your part in that. How many parents and families have been chased out of this district to charter or cyber schools because a majority of the board continues to advocate for universal mandates and removing choices from parents?
Thank you.
Dustin Datillo, Lower Pottsgrove. You guys don't see the irony that if we picked this whole meeting up with these parents and went to the local Giant or the Coventry Mall or Dollar General, we don't have to wear masks because we're in the school building? Science. That doesn't sound ridiculous to the grown-ups in this room? There's no children, excuse me, besides these two. We could be honest here. That makes no sense. And thanks for Mr. Parker's condescending remarks with zero facts. And I'm seeing that more and more when I come to these meetings and when I do research online. The parents that want to mask other people's kids never have a fact to back it up. They never have a study, but we constantly come up here with facts and studies. Fauci's own words, he laughed it off wearing a mask. These past few years, my kids have followed every one of your stupid little minute COVID rules. Plexiglass, keeping their arms out, wearing a mask. They didn't complain one time. We keep giving and giving and giving and giving. We follow all your rules. All we're asking for is the choice. Like, that's it. The plexiglass, you guys know that? Little study there, the plexiglass was actually causing more viral loads and causing more infections, but you guys put the plexiglass up too, didn't you? And Dr. Finnerty, we emailed once, you told me last year there was actually more cases. Was that correct? Or there was less cases last year? Okay, and we went to school, right? There's more cases now, and we're going to school full time. So you made the wrong call last year. They should have been in school 5 days a week. You made the wrong call by your own admittance. There was less cases last year. We went to school, and there's more now. We're going to school more.
Time.
Whatever. I'm not going to change your guys' minds either, but I know this. It's until we get the vaccine for the kids. Parker's are all for it, too. He'll be the first one in line to get the kids all shot with the vaccine. I know that's the end game. And you're lying if it's not. Yeah, please.
Real quick before I get started, I just need to hand something out just so you can follow me real quick. There we go.
Thank you very much.
I'm a little loud, guys, but I do appreciate everything you guys are doing. I would not want to be in your situation at all. Just one more thing, because this is the first time I'm at the school board. I have a petition here signed by 171 parents that are against this mask mandate. I didn't know who to hand it into. If I can get some direction.
Yeah, bring it up here.
So these are the taxpayers of Pottsgrove Township, and if you read the top part of it, it'll tell you that they were all against masks. Obviously, everyone has to work and can't be here, but I did get the thing. I can do whatever I want.
Can I give this to you?
It's on. Yeah. Can I get notice when the timer's going, please? James Troutman again.
Okay, let's start as 2 minutes if you will.
I already did.
We'll start them again.
I'm going to ask you to go to the third page also, is where I'm really going. The first two, you can read later.
Yeah, go ahead, 2 minutes.
Go. All right. In closing today, COVID poses no risk to our children. It has a 99.9% survival rate, and the CDC puts it at a 0.4 mortality rate. Having children breathe through a mask all day is teaching them that the air around them is toxic, people around them are toxic, and they themselves are toxic. Teaching this fear is child abuse. Munchausen syndrome by proxy, MSS, is a psychological disorder marked by attention-seeking behavior by a caregiver through those who are in their care. Part 4 of MSP states, there's a tendency to participate in the deception and to believe that they are disabled, and those children they are abusing. Early recognition of this is vital. I'm accusing all the school board, teachers, coaches, superintendent, principals, and nurses of being marked with this disease, and I expect everyone to get tested immediately. If you look at the form I just gave you, Pottsgrove Parents Against Discrimination, I just started that form this week, but I will be getting more to you. I have about like 15 of them already signed, and I'm going to give you them with the teachers' name. We expect this discrimination to stop immediately. I've been working on this, I'm also working on a document for the staff to get tested for the MSP. After staff participation in this discrimination, as I said, needs to stop. I have on camera a student that falls into an IEP and/or a Section 504 in which her mother gave a legal document per the mandate at the middle school and was sent to the principal's office and then was discriminated against in front of her mother. Both real American heroes, the kid and her mom standing up for her choice. You cannot set the atmosphere of fear in our children. This is the abuse. Reference the MSP paper that I just gave you. Students have no idea who most of you on this board are. Some of you don't even have kids in the district, yes? Whereas I have coached for 9 years for Westmont Soccer and the Pottsgrove Soccer Youth Organization. Most of the children around here in these schools call me Coach Jim. Mask mandates are a medical device, and I never gave my consent to my daughter to participate in this experiment. Stick to the Common Core and leave the practice of COVID experiments, including but not limited to PCR tests and vaccines, should be left to each individual family, and the parents should have absolute power in their children's health and safety. God bless. The ball is in your court.
That's a tough act to follow. Andrew Corman, Upper Pottsgrove. I stand for truth, health, and freedom. Just some facts and data. Well, in Singapore today, cases are up 1,028% in the past 3 weeks, despite mask mandates in place for 17 months. And 80% of the total population being fully vaccinated, one of the world's highest rates. I sent each of you an email the other day. In that email, it states, and this is truth and fact and freedom, and I quote, I was shocked when I read Neil Orr's study published in 1981 in the Annals of the Royal College of Surgeons of England. I'm not going to be able to finish this in my time, but I'm going to get through as much as I can. Dr. Orr was a surgeon in the Severals Surgical Unit, and for 6 months, from March through August 1980, the surgeons and staff in that unit decided what would happen if they did not wear masks during surgeries. They wore no masks for 6 months compared to the rate of surgical wound infections from March through August, with the rate of wound infections from March through August of the previous years. They discovered to their amazement that when nobody wore masks during surgery, the rate of wound infection was less than half of what it was when everyone wore masks. I'm going to finish it right there. Where are the facts and data and science on the other side of the fence? We haven't heard one iota of it. Mask choice. Make it so. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that's it.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak this evening?
We would like to vote on that today to see if you're going to accept our mandate for the school. We're going to give the IEP in the section 504. We have a mandate that I gave everybody here today. That mandate needs to be honored. Or as I said, I already got one video where I took a kid up to the school. I'm going to continue to keep bringing up kids from school and videoing them. You need to make a vote on that today.
Well, I'm sorry, sir.
Our legal mandate for the request. These are the checks and balances, so please give us an answer. My lawyer makes that up for me too, so.
Okay.
I'm sure he did.
I'll take a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? We have a motion from Mr. Grimm and a second from Dr. Nibbert to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.